You are listening to Vitruvian Man with Jesse and Josh.
Welcome back to Vitruvian Man, and as usual, I'm joined by Manila Josh.
Manila.
So, of course, everyone knows, all of our fans know that this is hip hop summer. We saw Cypress Hill, we're going to see Wu-Tang, and then in September we're going to see Kruder and Dorfmeister, and we just got tickets to what?
Air, baby.
Air is playing Moon Safari.
Moon Safari.
To me, one of the great albums of the last 30 years, actually.
One of like the primary electronic albums out there.
Yeah.
Like fucking dope. And especially that's their first album, but it's also kind of like them and Daft Punk were the French tech stuff that came out in like the late 90s. So fucking good.
So that's their first album. For some reason, I thought Virgin Suicides was their first album.
Maybe it was.
But
real close.
A great album start to finish. Every song a banger.
Every song.
And we talked about how electronic music is awesome. I love electronic music. If it's just two guys and DJs, I'm fine with that. But like Air is like the perfect amalgam of real instruments and electronic devices. Like they'll do voice stuff with electronics. They just mix that shit together.
It's so tight.
So tight.
And that's going to be played in elevators for the rest of eternity.
Sure. I mean, they're doing lounge music.
And I love that. I fucking
absolutely
love it. Yeah, it's so good. That's going to be
guys.
so dope. Masonic's a good place to see bands too.
Yeah, I've seen some bands there. Saw a couple comedians.
Is that a Sunday?
Yeah, it's a Sunday. Thankfully, it's not one of these middle of the week shows where you got to go on a Tuesday like Wu-Tang.
I'm going to have to like take that Monday off. We should stay the night.
Oh, you know what? I'm down.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Do some drinking.
The Mark Hopkins is right there. We could.
Oh, you that fancy hotel, right?
Yeah, walk right across the street.
Yeah,
That's
it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope.
And then we can go to was it Hung Ah Dim Sum down in Chinatown?
Oh, do they have the best dim sum?
Oh, fuck yeah!
Okay,
it's so good.
Okay,
and they got like weird shit too. Like
do they really?
Fucking chicken feet and stuff like
yeah,
that.
so it's Hong Kong. So someone recommended Asian Pearl. We'll have to try that place too sometime.
Asian Pearl. Oh, I got a good recommendation for a Filipino place.
Oh, okay.
That I was thinking we could go to before Wu-Tang.
Oh, nice. Is it near the Chase or is
Aqaba? No, it's
okay.
It's down by Fisherman's Wharf.
Oh, sweet.
But
I'm
we
in.
Get down there or whatever. Yeah,
totally in.
That'll be really good,
dude.
You can get balut at this place.
What is balut?
It's that fucked up egg with a fully formed chicken in it.
Well, that sounds delicious.
But they apparently, a guy I work with is telling me about it. And you can get the real thing, the regular balut, which I don't know. There might be a lot, but they also have a deconstructed one where they have like different aspects of it, and it's a little more palatable.
So the claws are in one dish.
Yeah, right.
Oh boy, it might be a little bit much for me. I'll watch you eat it. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll eat it.
So the fun part of our conversation is now over.
Okay, yeah. Now we're going to hell. Straight to fucking hell.
We are doing Chief Justice Antonin Scalia.
He wasn't chief, was he?
Oh, I'm sorry.
He was just justice.
Bad.
Yeah,
My bad.
He was just justice.
I know. Okay, Thurgood Marshall was Chief Justice, I guess, right?
Well, I don't know who was chief.
Okay.
Was John Roberts chief? Was he? Was he in at the time?
Because
he is now.
My bad.
But yeah, Justice Scalia.
But certainly, probably the most famous modern court justice. I mean, obviously, idiot Clarence Thomas was famous for his misdeeds, but as far as I watched a lot of 60 Minutes interviews. There was all kinds of interviews with Scalia, a very prominent, well-known justice, which isn't always a thing.
No, he was, and I mean, yeah, he was huge. Everybody knew who he was, and it started with in the 70s. You know.
Now you said you would call. Do you want to start with originalism? How do you want to start the conversation?
Let's start because I gotta I like doing the quick background on
totally.
Him just and then we can kind of work forward from there. So here we go. Born in Trenton, New Jersey on March 11th, 1936. His father was an Italian immigrant from Sicily. And his mother was second generation Italian American, devout Catholics, of course. His dad ended up becoming a professor of Romance languages at a university. So his old man was smart and well regarded as well. His classmate, his name was William Stern. He became a New York State official eventually. Said of Scalia, "This kid was a conservative when he was 17 years old, an arch-conservative Catholic. He could have been a member of the Curia. He was top student of the class. He was brilliant, way above everybody else." And this was in high school. So he was a very smart guy. Like,
what's Curia? I've never heard that.
That's part of the Catholic Church.
Okay.
I can't remember what they do, but it's like a group of funny hat wearing people.
Okay.
Went to Georgetown University, 53 to 57, majored in history, graduated from Harvard Law in 1960, magna cum laude. From there, he worked at a firm in Cleveland, big one. I think I can't remember the name specifically, but it was like big, well-regarded, lots of, he had ambitions when he was young.
You graduate, you said Yale or Harvard?
For law school, Harvard.
I think most people that graduate Harvard are looking for a top tier job. They're not. Let's say they're not relaxed about their career ambitions.
Well, when he was like in high school, well, I guess it was after high school. He was like 20 years old, and he was hanging out with a friend, and his friend said, where do you see yourself? He's all, I want to be a Supreme Court justice.
Wow.
So he fucking knew.
He was ambitious even at 20.
He knew when he was a kid what he wanted and where he was going.
Right.
So he probably would have been a partner at this firm in Cleveland, but he'd always wanted to teach, so he became a professor at the University of Virginia Law School. So then he was there, and then he went into public service in 1971. Want to guess who he went to work for?
1970. Nixon?
Yes.
No, really?
Yeah.
What did he do for Nixon?
I can't remember what he went in there for, but I think I can't remember. I don't want to speak out.
Yeah, I got the trivia question right.
Yeah. So in the aftermath of Watergate, he repeatedly testified before congressional committees defending executive privilege. So that's the beginning of his fucking douchebaggery, right? Executive privilege, which led to whatever the decision was, that basically gives the president immunity from what goes on.
So was he defending? Did you say defending executive privilege after Nixon got in trouble or before?
He was defending basically Nixon because he had executive privilege in the Watergate hearings.
So basically should have been immune from prosecution or...
they had no business charging him for anything.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
That's an important viewpoint, right? Because Trump's lackeys essentially say Trump could do no wrong, right? They tacitly approve everything he does as legal, and right, Trump has escaped prosecution several times over the last few years.
Essentially, last year or whenever the fuck the Supreme Court case came down regarding presidential immunity, that was directly related to this.
Oh, goody.
Yeah, I mean, his shadow is long and it is dark.
It is.
Right. It's like, it's not great. Because basically, okay, so he was defending executive privilege specifically regarding Ford administration's refusal to hand over documents regarding Nixon and his shenanigans. So, God, he advocated for a veto of the FOIA Act, right?
What is
Freedom of Information Act. So the Freedom of Information Act, which is what everybody uses to get information that's hidden from the public, from the government. So all the reporters, people looking for their...
So he's all for Big Brother kind of having these powers and not being held accountable for them.
He's all about executive privilege.
Yeah.
The executive branch of the government can do whatever the fuck it wants.
Which, let's be honest, I'm not saying that's an oligarchy, but if the executive, the chief executive, is not held accountable, how is that different from a king?
So it's right. It's not okay. I think that oligarchy has been utilized in a way that it's becoming meaningless.
Sure.
And that's not a
Yeah.
dig or anything.
Yeah.
But because I think that, I think I've said this before, we can look at the American government since its inception has been an oligarchy, because what it is a government of the few.
And our
right?
oligarchy disguised as a democracy.
Right. Yeah. And you have some input into it, but ultimately they have the final say of what's going on. And we have recourse, but they still run the fucking
Well,
game.
if you look at our foreign policy, right, I mean, there have been several illegal wars fought under the guise of, we're just, right? I mean,
yeah.
Technically, Congress is supposed to declare war or whatever,
right.
but I mean, that hasn't been a thing for decades.
Right, because they can call it a police action.
Yes.
I mean, there's ways to get around it. But so anyway. He is definitely somebody who looks at the executive branch as all powerful. And that's what we're seeing happen with the Supreme Court now, and the whole general. I mean, geez, it's just fucking infiltrated. God damn it!
It's exasperating.
Fucking sons of bitches.
It really is.
So after Ford lost to Carter, he of course, went to work for the American Enterprise Institute.
Oh boy,
because Carter, fucking pinko.
Right.
After that, he returned to academia at the University of Chicago Law School from 1977 to 1982. And this is right around the time that the Federalist Society was founded. We'll get into that a little bit.
That's not
later.
A good thing. I'm gonna make a wild kind of speculation, say that was bad.
Yeah, that's ominous warning noises coming up there.
Warning, danger.
At that point, so he was the first faculty advisor for the University of Chicago chapter of the Federalist Society. So that was the very beginning of it, and we can get into the Federalist Society in a little bit, and what this is going to turn into is a real condemnation of originalism and the fucking bullshit that's come from there, and how the Federalist Society kind of works into that. So Reagan at that point offered him a judgeship on the U.S. Court of Appeals, right, for the Seventh Circuit. That's in Chicago. He, with his monumental fucking ego, turned it down because he wanted to be on the U.S. Court of Appeals for D.C., which he considered more influential and more important. And because
so he turned down a major appointment.
He turned down a major appointment for a bigger appointment because he saw it. I believe that he saw it as a stepping stone to the Supreme Court.
Well, he was right.
He knew.
Yeah,
he knew. He built his conservative record with legal writings critical of the Supreme Court precedents. He felt bound as a lower court judge to follow. So he followed precedent as a lower court judge. But when he got into a position where he didn't have to, in his dissents, mostly, right? Because he wouldn't, he still had to follow precedent, but he didn't have to be quiet about it anymore. So this got the attention of the Gipper.
He didn't have to pretend to give a shit about precedent.
About precedent in his dissents, right?
Yeah.
Because legally he still had to follow it because that's the way it was.
Yeah.
So, but at that time, because of all his writings, he got the attention of the fucking Gipper, and he put him on the short list for the Supreme Court. So that's kind of a background,
right? Traditional Catholic,
where he got to traditionalist,
son of Italian immigrants, I believe,
and he is a trad Catholic.
He is a trad.
He is an anti-Vatican II Catholic.
Yes.
He is somebody who thought that those liberal fucking pinkos got into the what, Pope Pius X. I think that was who was.
So Scalia and his buddy Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson's dad.
The modern Catholic Church is too liberal.
Too liberal. They want he would actually. He would drive his family a half hour away, further from his local Catholic church, to attend Mass in Latin. Jesus. Right? I mean, that's part of the Vatican too. Is that they wanted to make it more.
They wanted the people sitting there to understand what they were saying.
They wanted.
I mean, let's be honest. Most people aren't speaking Latin unless they've gone to Harvard or Yale. I mean, it's
no. That was the whole point. Keep it a mystery. That was the whole point. Yeah, so he's the word. I was up at my parents' house last weekend. I was telling them we were going to be doing this one.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I'd seen some videos and kind of listened to him talk, and I was like, my mom's fucking just ranting about what a dick he is.
Your mom?
Yeah.
Nice. I like your mom already.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I might have a beer with him. That's out the fucking door now, man. Fuck that guy.
Yes.
So you got any input at this point?
Well, I mean, I as I mentioned before we went on air, I did watch a lot of interviews. I watched he and some other justices, it might have been Breyer, but they would speak about issues like the death penalty at universities. There is copious amounts of Scalia footage
Oh, yeah.
on YouTube. I watched a lot of it. Clearly smart. I mean, no one could say that he's unintelligent.
Brilliant.
Yes.
I will give him that.
And though I obviously disagree with him on practically everything, you can't say that his opinions aren't well reasoned.
Right. But my issue with him is that he has an agenda. He's got a conclusion that he works his reasoning to.
Let's talk about his agenda. Let's talk about originalism. Because I think I understand it a little bit.
Okay.
But just in a sentence or two, how would you describe originalism?
In a sentence or two, it sounds reasonable is the problem.
Yes.
Right? In a sentence or two, it sounds fucking reasonable. But in actuality, it's a real fucking problem.
It's regressive.
But let's go over just real quick how he interpreted the Constitution. And so he advocated textualism in statutory interpretation and originalism in constitutional interpretation. So what that means is when he would make decisions regarding statutory issues, right? So anything having to do with law or Congress or things like that pertaining to statutes or legal documents, he would use textualism, which was legal interpretation method that prioritizes plain, ordinary meaning of the text, focusing on how the terms would be interpreted by a reasonable reader from the time the document was written.
Now, let's just slow that down real quick here. Interpreted the stuff as it was written at the time.
Yes.
Right. So, I mean, that's important.
Because
the idea that the founding fathers were infallible is ridiculous.
So now this doesn't have to do with the Constitution, right? This is purely
more statute.
This is purely for statutes or legal
Okay.
issues. So like laws that were passed by Congress, those kinds of statutes that are in place, those kinds of things. So if you got something from say the 50s, it's a lot more. It's a lot easier to kind of interpret it in a textual way. But the fact that he would not consider intent or purpose was a real issue. And these kinds of ways of interpreting things makes it easy to get the outcome that you want, because these people are not historians, right? These judges are not historians, and they don't bother. They cherry pick history in order to prove whatever point they're getting to in order to justify the conclusion that they've already made.
Sure.
So now, as far as like the constitutional interpretation, it's originalism. So, all right, I'm going to read this.
This is
and then we're going to
a little wonky.
We're going to go. Yeah.
Okay.
Constitutional interpretation that advocates for interpreting the U.S. Constitution based on the understanding of its text and original meaning at the time of its ratification. So it essentially argues that the Constitution's meaning should remain fixed as originally intended and should not be interpreted in light of evolving societal values or circumstances.
That's not good.
It's not good. So it's so easy to utilize that in an activist way. And make no mistake, these motherfuckers are all activists.
But I think he would bristle at that notion.
Yeah, fuck
that
him.
He was an activist.
He is
judge.
absolutely an activist.
But I mean, he would say that's nonsense.
Well, of course he would. He'd give me some fucking witty retort, but fuck that guy. He's full of shit. Like he may not even know that he's an activist, but he has an agenda and conclusions that he already has that he works his decisions into.
So since he's a constitutional originalist, would he say that the Bill of Rights is unnecessary? Because it occurs to me that he would say that the Bill of Rights goes too far because it's not states making laws, it's courts making decisions regarding societal, let's say, progression.
The Bill of Rights, I believe, are the first 10 amendments, right? So first, second, all the way through fourth, all the ones that actually kind of elaborate on ideas. Because the one of the things that I'm not smart enough to know the Constitution in and out, but I do know that in the Constitution there is the idea of natural law, and so this is law that they left open for interpretation. They're like, basically, there's rights that people have that we don't know they have yet because the idea hasn't come to us. So they left the Constitution open for interpretation.
For example, let's say it's discrimination against gay people. Obviously, gay issues were not a thing in 1776.
But you can even make it simpler. Well, black rights,
right?
Minority rights, women's rights.
Right.
These weren't a thing.
Women couldn't vote. Black people couldn't vote.
Right. Also, they left open that for interpretation later. So the idea of a living constitution is what they intended, and it's very obvious that they intended that because they wrote it fucking down and they said it. Right.
It's what they intended, and it's what worked for quite a while, as far as like the society progressing through legal precedents.
Right. So one of the things that got this whole idea of originalism started was Brown versus the Board of Education. So that's
segregation. That's
the segregation that made it illegal. That fucking lit him up, dude. That got all those
lit Scalia up.
Well, no, this is before Scalia.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Although I think that he probably did at the time, but he was, that was in the 50s,
sure,
early 60s.
But that lit up the conservatives, you mean?
The entire okay, I will give them conservatives at that time.
Okay. So real quick then, so is that the beginning of the battle of state rights? Is that how states' rights becomes a thing?
No, states' rights became a thing in
post-Civil War.
Post-Civil War.
Okay.
Exactly. And so that they use that again. They use states' rights to usurp the concept of a big
federal authority
government.
Right.
Like that's the thing that they're trying to take away. But the Brown versus Board of Education lit the fucking rednecks up. They couldn't deal with it, so they came up with this concept, and it wasn't called originalism then. But it started moving. It started the ball rolling.
And this kind of runs parallel with the Federalist Society. Federalist Society is before this, right?
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the Federalist Society is a bunch of assholes. Anyway,
it is.
So we're getting there.
Yeah.
So that lit them up. They started planning how they can reverse this idea of a living constitution, and so that started moving forward. Now, rolling around in like the mid 70s, our boy Robert Bork, you know who he is?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So he was part of the Saturday Night Massacre, right? He was the one that actually fucking canned all those people for Nixon.
Okay, I don't remember the Saturday Night Massacre.
So that was after he got busted for Watergate. He wanted a bunch of people
fired,
canned.
Uh-huh.
And
Bork was chief of staff, or what was his position?
He went through 3 people, and they wouldn't do it. They refused to fucking do it, and finally Bork did it.
He wasn't chief of staff. He was just on Nixon's panel.
I can't remember what his position
but anyway,
was. But yeah, he's
the one that swung the axe on 3 important figures.
Yeah. Oh, he fired a bunch of people after 3 people decided not to do it.
I'm sorry.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
So, and then, well, okay. And then, so at that time, Robert Bork started the originalist idea. And out of that came the Federalist Society. And they say that
I didn't know that was Bork. That was one of the early inceptors of that.
Oh no, he was, and I mean, it was the original money came from. Who do you think? Just hazard a guess. Where do you think the money came from?
How about Kellogg family?
How about the Cox?
Oh, Koch brothers.
Yeah,
or the Koch dad. Actually, that would have been the dad at the time.
Right?
And the Mercers. Okay,
like these motherfuckers.
Koch was let's be honest about this. Koch was he founded the John Birch Society.
So
I think I'm saying that correct.
I don't know if it came from him or if it came from his sons, because they're old as shit too. And this would have been in like 1977.
But make no mistake, the John Birch Society is a thinly veiled Ku Klux Klan bookstore is what it is.
Absolutely. No.
Anti-Semitic, anti-everybody, absolutely a white hate group.
Absolutely. But I don't know if it was dad or if it was the brothers. I think it was the brothers that put the funding up for it.
I thought it was dad, but it doesn't matter. They're assholes.
No, this I'm talking about for the Federalist
Society,
not Birch.
Sure.
He was absolutely John Birch, but his boys just as fucking bad.
Yes.
Fucking dickheads. So the Federalist Society itself was founded in 1982. And it was they say it was founded by students, but there's a lot of stink of fucking Bork and other people really doing it. And then the funding coming from those people, it's obvious that this was kind of They had a plan, and they were putting it into action, and they were starting with 1982. I'm going to go with regressive, not conservative. They fucking regressive lawyers regressive law students.
Conservative, the arc of the moral universe is slow. Regressive is we want to go back.
We want to go backwards. Yeah, I'm done calling anybody in office right now is not a conservative.
No. They're aggressive.
And we should absolutely make that a point to fucking say that out loud.
Don't use that word.
Fuck that. Because a conservative is somebody who fucking it's slow government, not no government. And that's what these motherfuckers are going for.
Well, as we pointed out, Nixon would have been called a conservative. He formed the EPA.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's progressive, not regressive.
He's a fucking criminal, but
yes.
he did have an idea of forward motion for a government.
Yes.
So let's see. The idea of the Federalist Society is to promote originalism and also promote the concept of judicial restraint, and they believe in the primacy of the executive branch. So, and we're seeing all that come into fruition.
More alarms in my head now.
Yeah, I mean, just fucking, I got a headache.
Yeah. I bet you do. You've had a lot of research. This has been rough.
Oh, man.
You were not looking forward to this, and you were right.
No, I there was a point, like I said, when I was talking to my mom, I'm like, maybe he's not that bad. No, he's that fucking bad. Now, the odd thing about originalism is that for some reason it always ends up coming down to conservative, regressive conclusions. Like it's pretty much
what a coincidence.
It's so weird.
Yeah,
it's so fucking very weird.
Who'd have thunk it?
What I think is kind of a bummer is that the liberals are starting to use that same terminology. And in fact, I was listening to some podcasts, and they were talking about how he said something like, people have stopped using the term living constitution, which I think is a fucking shame. And they're starting to use the term anti-originalism, which is fucking bullshit. Now, the thing about originalism, really, that I feel like, right? True originalism, obviously, like everything is... Originalism as it sits now is one small aspect of making a decision based on the Constitution. Because of course, people that use the idea of a living Constitution are going to use the fucking text of the goddamn Constitution.
Right.
No fucking shit. That's what it's based on.
Yeah.
Right? But they also use context, intent, purpose in modern situations, right? It's like they use the whole thing. Originalists, they use a very specific thing, and they don't always use it. If the conclusion that they come to from originalism is the wrong one, they switch it up. And you see this all the fucking time.
Well, to like slow it down just for a second, Democrats famously awful at crafting language. I mean, if you look at Republicans the last 40, 50 years, the way they craft language is genius.
Well, somehow...
for example, defund the police. America's police force, the third largest military in the world. Have you heard that? American police, the third largest military in the world. So defund the police, an awful, awful branding of that, right? If you're arguing, let's cut back on all this militarization of the police, that's a solid argument. Defund the police sounds like get rid of the police. And it was not polling well amongst black people. Black people hated that, that idea as far as polls went.
Absolutely. No, fucking, it went over like a lead fucking balloon.
But like anti-originalist. There has to be something better than that.
Yeah.
It's not anti-religionist. It's pro-progression.
He came up with an idea which I thought was interesting, but it's not going to stick. He wanted to call
I'm sorry, who's he?
This guy that I was listening to, some lawyer guy. Yeah. He was like, there should be, the originalists should be called monists, and the living constitutionalists should be called pluralists, because
that's much better.
It makes a lot of sense, right? Because they're only using one tool in the kit to make these decisions.
Yeah.
And the living constitutionalists are using multiple tools as fucking intended.
Yes.
Right?
As intended by the founding fathers.
Yes. Yeah. It drives me fucking nuts.
Josh is fired up.
Oh man, these fucking rat bastards.
Don't get Josh started.
I don't know how they fucking control the fucking narrative so well. It's insane how it fucking gets out there.
Masters of crafting the language.
And the left are a bunch of fucking morons. Like, dude, defund the police, you dumb ass motherfucker. What the fuck does that even mean?
Awful.
Just because it doesn't fit on a fucking bumper sticker, you won't use the fucking language. Use your words, you dumbasses.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The conservative movement, modern conservatism has been amazing at crafting language to their goal.
Yeah.
And it works every time. And for some reason, Democrats aren't capable of coming up with good decisions about how they're going to brand this stuff. And this is all about branding.
It is. It's absolutely about branding. And okay, drives me nuts among many, many things. But the fucking shit that drives me absolutely batty is like that stupid shit where fucking Schumer and Pelosi during the fucking COVID, they all put on the kente cloths.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember that?
Yes. Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing?
So was that
what the fuck
for
does that
Black
even
History
mean?
Month? Well, I can't remember what that was for.
I don't even remember what it was for.
It might have been Black Lives Matter. Was it like a Black Lives Matter thing?
That's right. It might have been a Black Lives Matter.
Let's call it culturally tone deaf. I mean, like that, at that point in history, everyone knew about cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
So it was such a bad look.
So bad.
Use, in that case, use your words.
Yeah.
Use your words to describe why equal rights are important. Don't put on an African robe. I mean, that was the worst photograph. That was
so
fucking
bad.
awful.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
And that's just, I mean, they have no idea how to fucking message. But I also believe it's because they're hubristic and they don't really fucking care. They're old and they're staying in power.
They are absolutely just as much full of their own hubris as any Republican. Absolutely.
I don't like, and none of them will fucking let go of power. Fucking one of them will.
They're all rich. They all have giant stock portfolios because of their insider trading. We talked about this.
Yeah.
There probably should be more young people in Congress and a lot fewer old people.
And like that fucking, fucking Pelosi, she fucking appointed Jerry Connolly, a 76-year-old dude with fucking cancer, to head up that fucking whatever committee it was. It passed over AOC for that fucking old
Huge
cracker,
mistake.
dude. What the fuck are they thinking?
So that's cronyism.
That's cronyism.
AOC, a rising star in the Democratic Party, and we talked about this in previous episodes. The Democrats they do a horrible job of crafting and nurturing young stars.
And she knows how to get attention. She knows how to communicate
and
ideas.
she knows how to fucking go after people.
She
does not mince words, which is why I love her. She is not interested in using language that appeases people.
Right.
And that's the kind of people we need in the Democrat fighters. We need fighters.
But she is also now, I think this is more so now. She's out there actually talking to people, and that is.
You mean was she
awesome.
and Bernie in their tour? You mean
Bernie in her tour, and some of her live streams, she's actually encouraging people to talk to her. She's like, if you got something to say, if you're a MAGA voter, talk to me. Tell me what's up.
I think a lot of older people, including people in Congress, don't take young people seriously.
Yeah.
And I think that's to their to their peril because, you know, I work at a college. I know a lot of young people. And I think, you know, Bill Maher just constantly just complains about young people and how pampered they are and how privileged. And, you know, I know young people, you don't. And they're not like that.
Yeah.
They're cool. You know, they're cool. They are smart, strong fighters, and they deserve respect.
Yeah.
In any regard, the same way an older person deserves respect.
And listen to them. And until they prove that they're fucking idiots, which happens, they give them the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Anyway. Yeah. Anyway. So, we got off.
Originalism. We talked about originalism.
So yeah, Bork is really the guy that that put it together.
I had no idea.
And his motivation behind it, just take a guess.
Take back America back to the good old days. I mean, I know that sounds really facile.
It's a very specific thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Roe versus Wade.
Meaning, he saw that as a thing that needed to be overturned.
Yeah. He thought it was overstepping.
Interesting.
So that's where you get into like what is it, the Dobbs decision, right? Which is what overturned Roe versus Wade and put it back to the states. So that's where you come up with the states' rights shit.
Yeah, and it's awful. Had this been about vasectomies, I don't think we'd even be talking about this, right? We're talking about women, uterus, because uterus is their entire legal argument.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, yeah, in control. I mean,
and Catholicism, right? We're talking about Christianity being injected into our government, making moralistic decisions about people's rights.
Yeah, I mean, and so they are going to go after Brown versus the Board of Education.
Oh, absolutely.
That's going to happen, and
they're going after all of it. Let's be honest.
think they're going to go after Loving v. Virginia.
I can't remember which one that is.
Interracial marriage.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, I think they're going to fucking be hitting it. That's why I feel like this is probably the most regressive fucking bunch of asshats that have, well, not ever, but, you know, certainly in modern history that have been in office.
As Popeye would say, it's disgustapating.
So yeah, I mean, basically, my thought here, like I made this note when I was fucking listening to something. My originalism is a regressive traditionalist constitutional theory that is designed to ensure a regressive outcome. If it doesn't, they abandon all pretense and change their methodology. So they will go with the living constitution idea if it gives them the proper regressive outcome.
So originalists would say that Supreme Court should not be making decisions regarding societal justice. Am I saying that correctly?
So their concept is that originalism promotes judicial restraint, right? But it does the exact opposite.
Well, because it promotes restraint unless it's something that fits the Catholic agenda.
Now, I don't want to throw Catholics under the bus any more than I want to throw all Christians under the bus, because that's what we're talking about. Is a Christian theocracy. Doesn't matter.
JFK was Catholic
brand,
right? So
it doesn't matter what brand.
Sure.
And he was a fucking Vatican II Catholic. He was somebody who was all about that. And I mean, we've talked about it. I think the liberalism of the Catholic Church in the late '60s and '70s after Vatican II really promoted inclusivity. And I mean, there was some back and forth here, but now we're to a point where like this conclave is going to really kind of hammer out what's going to happen with the Catholic Church, because they could put somebody in there that's super regressive.
Wouldn't be a big surprise.
No, if they put the guy in from Hungary, we're in trouble.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's going to be.
We're in trouble anyway, but it's just more trouble.
More fucking trouble. But yeah, I mean, like one of the problems is that Elena Kagan kind of famously said at some point during her hearings on her hearing to become Supreme Court Justice, she said, "We're all originalists now." And what she meant by that is that what I said earlier about originalism is one aspect of kind of a holistic idea of looking at the Constitution. And that's what she intended. But everybody fucking jumped on that on the right and said, "Hey, we're all fucking originalists now." Yeah. All this bullshit. And so one of the problems I see is that there are liberals out there that are trying to use the same methodology. And it's dumb. You fight that shit. You don't fucking jump on the bandwagon. And that's part of the problem with fucking the messaging of the right. It's been so fucking effective. I don't understand how, like, Why isn't anybody out? Like I'm dumb, right? You know, I'm not a smart guy. I got
Come
no
on,
education.
give yourself a little credit.
I'm not,
You're average.
I'm some fucking schmuck, right?
Yeah.
But like, why aren't there fucking smart people out there saying this shit? Why aren't
Yeah.
they fucking out there like on a goddamn soapbox fucking yelling this shit?
I guess they've surrendered
Fuck.
already.
That's it. It's just straight up complacency.
Yeah.
Like there should be a whole fucking a whole crew out there. They should be.
Yeah.
It's just it's
No one's
maddening
fighting.
how much they've fucking given
Yeah.
up, and they won't fucking try and reframe the narrative.
Yeah. It's time to like vote out a lot of old people. They seem lazy and fat cats and, you know, full of their stock portfolios and
Yeah.
don't give a shit about anything. So real quick here.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to understand states' rights versus originalism. Would then Scalia and his lackeys say that states should be determining these social mandates, not the court? Right? Am I saying that correctly?
That's exactly it, and that's exactly what's happened with the different things, and until they don't like the idea of what a state might do. So, was it Rahimi? I wish that I knew law more. I wish, you know, I should have gone to school to be a fucking lawyer. But basically the idea there is like the Second Amendment is like a classic fucking example. It's states' rights until a state passes a law against guns in some manner.
So Scalia, not giving a shit about gun control, would say that states should determine the legality of gun control laws. Well,
No.
until they make a liberal decision that's pro gun control.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would be the remedy for that if you're an originalist then?
You make it
To strike it down at the Supreme Court level?
you strike it down at the Supreme Court level, and you make it a federal law, make it federal jurisdiction.
So this is a perfect little machine they've got.
Oh, yeah.
If they're saying that states need to make these decisions themselves
until
they don't like the decision.
Exactly.
Then with their their, let's say, ideology, they say, oh, well, this should have never got to the Supreme Court. This is not an originalist concept. This is going against the founding fathers' wishes. Therefore, the
Right.
Supreme Court will strike it down. That's a crazy. That is a genius plan.
It's
works
tight.
really well.
It's fucking tight. And
Yeah.
and now you have Alito, Thomas,
Yep.
Gorsuch, and Amy Coney Barrett are admitted. And Kavanaugh are like out and out fucking originalists.
Yes,
they say
they're
that.
activist judges.
They're activist judges.
Yeah.
Although I think I said this before, Amy Coney Barrett, I disagree with a lot of her ideas and what she stands for, but she, I think, takes it more serious than the others.
Terrence Thomas is not a serious person, but she is. You're saying?
I am saying that because she was a law professor. She
Right.
she never actually was a judge.
Right.
So as a law professor, she like you can some of her dissents you can kind of see. She's like, it's like you didn't.
There's some respect there. Or?
She's like, you didn't think this through
Nice.
properly, right? And she's a lot nicer than Scalia would have been because he was a fucking dick.
He assumed he was right about everything.
Yeah.
And like you said, in his decisions was very, let's say, insulting to the majority judges.
Yeah, he was very happy to be an asshole, and especially in dissents. Like
Right.
that was like, y'all dumbass motherfuckers don't know what you're talking about, kind of thing.
Now, help me with this just for a second here. When Scalia died, Obama was supposed to appoint a judge.
Yeah.
And this got stolen from Obama's administration.
I'm pretty sure it was Scalia.
I think I'm saying this right. I think Scalia died. Obama had a chance to reshape the court,
and
that was
Mitch
McConnell,
fucking turtle ass motherfucker
traitor.
McConnell,
Let's call him a traitor, 'cause he
traitor
is.
ass bitch.
Yes,
Fucking
made sure that wouldn't
stonewalled
happen.
it. Yeah,
and we could have seen a different court now had Obama had that appointment. I believe.
And so if he'd been able to make that appointment and fucking RBG had gone out when she should have, a whole different ballgame.
We hammered RBG when we talked about the Supreme Court in season 1, and let's be honest, as good as some of her decisions were in the 60s, I guess that would be 70s too, but like as good as they were, her hubris, her basically assumption that a woman in her 90s with cancer was going to survive a long time
Should have stayed on the
cost a Supreme Court nomination that could have reshaped the court.
Yeah, and so Alito and her They should have. Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Not
if
good.
those two had been appointed by Obama, which
They should have been.
absolutely should
Yes.
have been, we would have a different thing going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're in hell.
This is not good.
We're
really
fucking
bad.
straight up in hell.
We really are. Do you have more notes?
I'm checking to see here. So I've gone into So I know that we talked about this before, but I don't know if I said anything like on the cast here. One of the things about originalism is that they are interpreting it. It's the one aspect of interpreting historical documents. None of these people are historians.
No. They don't pretend to be historians.
Well, I think that Scalia kind of did. I feel like he, because he did major in history. That's what he got his degree in. But he cherry picks it. They all cherry pick it.
Sure.
And like, I don't even want to get into fucking Thomas, dude. That fucking bitch. God damn it. We are in hell.
His wife is an alt-right nutbag, but he said out loud, yeah, my wife's politics don't influence my decisions.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
One of the worst things I heard is they're like, oh yeah, Scalia he would have been just absolutely appalled by Trump. Well, that's pretty odd since his fucking wife has Trump flags flying in their fucking yard.
Absolutely. I having watched a lot of interviews with him, it might have been the Leslie Stahl 60 Minutes interview with Scalia, but she brought up Bush v. Gore.
Oh yeah, that
one
was
of the worst
Scalia.
decisions
absolutely
in history.
Yeah.
Where 9 people decided a presidential election.
Appointed.
Yes, and first thing Scalia says is, "Get over it."
Yeah, that's not a serious person.
Get over it.
That's not a serious person.
Get over, and then he says,
especially as a judge.
Yeah, get over it. Get over this amazing, unprecedented decision where he defended it by saying Gore wanted it. I don't know that Gore imagined it was going to go this way. He says, well, of course we're fine with reviewing this case because Gore pressed for it. That's so disingenuous.
It's such fucking bullshit, dude.
Yes.
Fuck, dude. Oh, God.
Get over it. That's what he said. I thought that was insane.
Yeah.
If I could just say this out loud, I wasn't going to give you lots of Scalia's religious thoughts, but for someone so certain in his, let's say, being right about his decisions, again, a narcissist, right? Scalia was intelligent, but he was a narcissist.
Yeah.
For someone so entrenched in the belief that he's correct, this is what he said about Satan.
Oh, God.
What Satan's doing now is getting people not to believe in him or God. He's much more successful that way. And then he says to the interview he was pressing about this stuff, are you so out of touch with most of America, most of which believe in the devil? Many more people intelligent than you and me have believed in the devil.
What an asshole.
I told you, I overheard my insane uncle and my insane father once at a party talking about the devil and how he's, let's say, affecting people day to day.
Yeah, right.
That's fucking crazy.
It's insane. This is a mental issue.
Yes.
These are people that have this is somebody who says fucking Snape is fucking influencing the world.
Yeah. Well, and let's put it this way. Scalia would say, we already said he's intelligent.
Yeah.
He would call himself intelligent. It is unintelligent to talk about the devil interfering in our daily lives. Okay, I shouldn't be that, let's say,
it's delusional.
Wide of a brush.
It's delusional.
But I mean, to use common practice, the worst fallacy. Most people in the United States believe in the devil. To me, there are thinkers that are iconoclasts. My wife's an iconoclast. You and your wife are iconoclasts. You form your own opinions based on a lot of information. To use common practice, to say that most Americans believe in the devil, that's your argument?
It's a logical.
Most Americans believe in the devil.
It's a logical fallacy, right?
It is fallacy number one.
Yeah.
Common practice.
Yeah.
I once got in a huge argument with a friend once who tried to tell me this movie was great because it made $2 billion. Bro, I don't care if it made $100 billion.
Doesn't matter.
It does not make it good.
Just because a bunch of monkeys are clapping at it.
No.
Fuck that. No.
That is the worst argument.
Yeah.
So I just had to say that quote about the devil out loud. So
I just going to give you an idea of how disingenuous the originalists are. This is the Second Amendment. a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Okay. So when I read that, I look at the words, a textual reading of it, saying that a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state.
An army.
Well, they didn't have a standing army at the time.
Right.
Right. So the idea of having a militia ready to go in case of an invasion or some sort of a problem, that is an obvious, it's obvious that needs to be there because
Sure.
you got to defend
your property that you stole
country.
from the Native Americans. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
yes.
That's a whole different thing.
Sure.
But yeah. So right there, that it's done.
Yes.
It's done. There, we have a standing army now.
Yes. And I believe in the right to bear arms.
Oh, dude.
I believe in the right to defend your own home.
I have guns.
Yes.
I fucking love guns.
It's a thing.
But I also this is not that, right? And so an originalist reading of this, some of the fucking mental gymnastics they have to go through in order to make this work is ridiculous.
In order to make this defend on not automatic weapons, but large assault rifles and huge magazine clips, all the things the NRA has done to help promote mass shootings.
Yeah. I mean, I now basically am like, yeah, everybody should have as much fucking firepower as they can fucking handle because fuck it. Right.
I don't blame you.
Toothpaste is out of that tube. But
right.
If we had done something like I can't remember the name of the massacre that happened in Australia.
The one that killed about 12 people that made them reform their entire gun control law.
Shut it down.
It was over.
It was done.
It was one shooting.
One fucking
Well, we
mass
have several
killing.
shootings every year.
We have one a day. We have one
shooting.
a day.
Yeah.
In America, one a day.
Yes.
There's a mass.
By far the worst in the
Killing.
world by a gigantic margin.
Yeah,
it's not even close.
The only places that it's close to is fucking Colombia,
Right.
or fucking Jesus, DRC. We're talking we're fucking third world level shit here.
Yes.
We are the third world shithole that fucking Trump claims to not want people from.
Well, my one Joe Rogan quote that I actually like was something like, "We have a mental health issue that's disguised as a gun control issue." And I mean, let's be honest, right? That's true.
That's pretty true. Yeah.
It's very much a mental health issue.
Joe Rogan is your basic broken clock.
Yeah. Even a broken clock is correct twice a day. Yeah. So,
but some of the gymnastics they have to go through is just ridiculous. So it's the right of the people to keep and bear arms. So they're well, the preamble to the Constitution says we the people. So the right of the people means we the people and to keep and bear arms. And it's just it's insane what they do. It's so disingenuous and it's so obviously a regressive. They have an agenda. They have a goal, and
they cherry pick whatever they want.
They
to
cherry
further
pick
that
the
goal.
history.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't pick, they abandon it and go with a different kind of thing.
Well, and since we understand that the Constitution, when it works well, is a living document,
It is
The
a
founding
living
fathers pictured musket rifles and pistols.
Right.
They didn't picture each household having 25 rifles, 25 handguns, a small army in every household. They could have never imagined that.
They had, and okay, I'll stop here. But the living Constitution is what they intended. The idea of originalism hamstrings what the framers wanted,
Which is a flexible document that
grows.
Yes, that grows with society and with culture.
Yeah. And so the originalists for the next 20 years, 30 years, because I'm guessing a couple of the older justices will fucking quit while Trump's in office and he'll appoint somebody in their 40s. They're going to slowly hack away at all precedent. That's the other thing about fucking originalists is that it's there to ignore precedent. Because it used to be that precedent mattered. That's what fucking the law was based on. But they are going to slowly eliminate all those precedents and return these things to states. And then if the states make a wrong decision, they will make it federal.
Yes. Did you see a Trump-appointed judge just struck down as illegal his anti-immigration rules? So Trump is actively, and his administration's trying to up deportations
Yeah.
and basically override established law that's existed for decades.
Yeah.
But a Trump-appointed judge actually just ruled it unconstitutional.
It'll be that way until it hits the Supreme Court,
Yeah.
and then they'll
And it won't matter.
They'll fucking get rid of the precedent, and then they'll be able to fucking ship anybody, citizen or not, to fucking CCOT and no due process.
Hooray for America.
That's really what they're looking to get rid of is due process.
Yes.
They want to be able to kidnap people off the streets for whatever fucking reason and do whatever the fuck
Well, they
want
are.
with them.
They're already the ICE is already using. They're already breaking into people's houses without warrants.
But what they're doing now is for black and brown people, right? But once they get that established, once they get rid of the precedent that people need due process, that eliminates due process for everybody, which means that they can pull fucking their political enemies out. They can pull people from the media out. Like this is like it's bad that it's happening to immigrants, right? But that's just the tip of the spear.
Wife and I talked about moving to England. You want to come with us? Or?
I'll carry your bags.
Fuck this place.
Yeah, fuck this joint.
Yeah, this racist hootenanny. This is awful.
We are going.
How's that depression going, Jim? This is
fucking fired up.
Not
tell
good.
You what.
It's not good at all. So
enjoy.
That's. Hope you like the podcast. Thank you. That was this is season 9. We have one more episode. I'm sorry, season 9. Episode 9, season 2.
Yeah.
So next week we'll decide what we're doing. And then we will definitely be back for season 3. And we've, as we mentioned last week, this is not really helping our depression. And we have covered a lot of the major players behind the throne.
I think we've hit almost all of the big ideas and philosophies that are really pushing this administration. And I think it's really pushing it forward. It's
been some rough few weeks for us.
Fucking hard ones.
We went from being super depressed about the election to this.
Fuck.
Didn't make it better.
No.
I have a little quote for you. So I've actually named a song after this Carl Jung quote. This is just a great quote. I was reading some Carl Jung this week, and he says, "The pendulum of the mind oscillates between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong."
Yeah,
that's pretty profound.
That's a fact.
That goes to free will, right? That goes to us being animals, essentially governed by our ductless cannon viscera, our fight or flight reflex being more important to our decision making than any right and wrong or morality. Yeah. So I just thought that was pretty good.
So there's so much from Jung that's good, and all these ideas. So I am always flummoxed by how Jordan Peterson got it where he is, because he considers himself a Jungian. Psychiatrist.
Does he really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of
we talked about that, and I'm having a hard time tracing what Peterson says it's even resembling something that Jung would say.
Because he talks about, I don't know.
Does he talk about the dark side? I mean, obviously Jung talked a lot about the darkness and the dark side of human existence and human personalities.
But that's the what the dark side is the fucking woke mind virus, right? that's his bullshit.
How dare he even mention Carl Jung? That
yeah,
I mean,
fucking
Jordan Peterson, not a serious person.
Bastard, not a serious person.
Yuck. I'm glad we're done with that. Do we solve it? No, not at all.
Fuck no. We live in hell, dude.
Yeah.
We are in the worst timeline.
We'll be back next week with another episode of What the Fuck is Happening to This Place with Jesse and Josh.
This motherfucker.
Yeah. Fuck all of this shit. We're going to England with Jesse and Josh. See you next week.
All right, Holmes, rock on. You have been listening to The Trivia Man. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can either call us at 415-484-8841 or send us an email at thetrivianpod@gmail.com.